Good evening and welcome to my podcast. It's live from Southern California. I'm Bob Pace and I'm here to help you fight CPS and stop taking our children. It's a real serious matter, this CPS is. The child protection system is uh, absurd. It's so many people doing so many negative things. There's nothing about what they're supposed to do. The CPS system, the child protection system, is supposed to be a branch of social services who protects our children, minors under the age of 18, from abuse or neglect, and also help reunify the family if the family is broken apart. And right now, they take to children 99% of the time they hear an allegation. And the problem with allegations is the allegations may not be true. A lot of them are done by lay people, in my case, and they're used as to alienate the children from the parents and traffic the children into foster care and take them either through false allegations or in the hospital through the medical trafficking there is going on. It's horrible. It's horrible. I like to go over the ways you can interact with this podcast. The first one is that you can text in a comment. That means you can write on Facebook a comment, and I'll see it, and I'll try to respond to it. Now, you found me through Facebook. I'm broadcast on YouTube Live, and I'm using the StreamYard application. And so when you are typing in the comment of your CPS question, please show your name, city, state, or country, and be complete with your CPS case. And that way I can answer it instead of do repeated back and forth comments there. Now, you probably say I say the word country. I am very surprising that CPS is a worldwide thing. It's happening everywhere, and I've been contacted by countries like Australia and Canada, United Kingdom, Ghana in South America, Mexico, Mozambique in Africa, and Denmark. And just recently, I got contacted by Libya. They all have CPS issues and cases. Even the terrorist group ISIS has been in the news about CPS. And recently, Mozambique was in the news about CPS in Africa. So it is a worldwide problem. It's atrocious. You'll find, from my experience, I am a family man. I am loving, caring of 6 children, and 3 of my children were stolen by CPS, and they were trafficking into foster care, and I was deceived and taken advantage of, all because I had lost my job and I didn't represent I had any income, and they take advantage of people like that. They take advantage of it. I didn't lose my job through my fault of my own. It was something that was beyond my control. The state of California is going bankrupt. I had over $53 million of contractual work with them, and in 2010, the governor decided to take the money from those contracts and use it to take care of his problems with a promissory note of IOU. Well, banks weren't too happy about giving you a credit line to start the projects. Anyway, that's history. That was in 2010. And for 5 years, my in-laws tried to do false allegations, and trying to get in there. We have some people that come in the room now. Faye, yay, you're here. Thank you. Faye is from Richmond, Kentucky. She has a CPS case. She's taking care of her son, who's a special need child. We have Nadia, and she's from West Hollywood. And she's a really good mom who all the time makes comments. I'm glad you two are in my room. Now, another way to interact with me on this podcast is you can call in. Faye's called in. Natalie's called in. All you do is my number is 626-698-0990. That's my office number, and I will take the call and put you on speakerphone so everybody can hear and we can help you with your CPS case. There's nothing that, I want to help you. Um, it's really, really hard. And I know that, you're helpless at times, and I feel for you. I feel for you. No questions, Dom. And if you'd like to call in at 626-698-0990, I'll gladly take your call. I'm not sure that, you see, okay, those are all done. My volume is on there. Okay, yeah. Everything's working fine. My phone is set to go and everything. Okay. So I can take my calls. Always got to check my phone. So you call in to the show at 626-6. Wow, geez. Oh, we get KK, I think. Good evening. Well, we did have, I thought it was KK that called in. She must have dropped off. I'll call her back.
Leave a brief message and I'll get back to you. Or you can call me on my other line, 347-246-1710 or 347-569-2037.
Hello, KK in Richmond. Yeah.
Hazme un mensaje o llámame a mi otra línea a 346-879-9580 o mi línea pasada 346
Okay.
879-2037. Gracias, pase un día.
Yeah, hey KK, I tried to answer the call, but you hung up and I called you back and I got your phone message here, but please call me back. This is Bob Pace. So KK, if you want to talk, you're welcome to call in. I have the phone set there. So the call in is 626-698-0990, and that works in there too. But if you don't have any comments, that's okay. You can just listen. And if you don't want to call in, that's okay too. What you can do if you want to be on my show as a guest, and that would be live, and you could be as a guest there. All you need to do is contact my show producer. Her name is Grace. She works behind the scene. She'll help you get on the show. There are 14 shows 2 times a day. I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning and 7 o'clock at night, Pacific Standard Time for 1 hour. There's one exception. On Sunday morning, I'm on at 8 in the morning for 1 hour. And so Pacific Standard Time. So I'll let you know if there's any other changes, but you just pick a day, Monday, Sunday, Saturday, morning or afternoon, and tell Grace you want to be on the show. Now, she has an email. Her email is grace@vincentwdavis.com. grace@vincentwdavis.com. And she'll gladly help you get on the show and put on there. That's grace@vincentdavis.com. So those are the ways you can interact with this podcast. We've been talking about different topics. You guys have been really good about telling me what topic you like to talk about. And that's good too. I have 3 general rules I try to help you out. One is about how to get an attorney, which is the most important thing you need for this agency. 2, how to keep track of your paperwork, be organized, and so forth. And 3, not to talk to social workers or police, not to let them in your home or let them take your children, or in the hospital not let you take your children. So I talk about those 3 rules in a little bit more depth in a little bit. But it's really important that you talk about. I also talk about other subjects like ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978. That's an important act. That was something long overdue. For over 100 years, Indian children were constantly being the number one child to be sent to foster care, and the parents never stood a chance. So Congress enacted a law that says that CPS must first ask anybody that they're investigating if they're a Native American Indian. I'm talking about the first immigrants that came over and the generations from them. And so if you're a Native American Indian And your tribe is one of 547 federal recognized tribes. And you either have to be registered with the tribe or could be registered with the tribe. And then your kids are immediately put in the hands of the tribe. They put them into Indian families who help you get back on your feet or help whatever the case may be. There's a better chance that your kids won't be taken advantage of, and a better chance because they're not in for the money. The money is what makes CPS so bad. They just have so much money and they abuse it. It's a $50 billion business, and they're taking $20,000 per child when they um, bring them into custody. And on top of that, there's additional things for some of the services is like $5,000 a month, foster care. So there's so much money going on behind the scenes. They're very corrupt. They're very deceptive. They're not transparent. They'll lie to you. They'll bring your heart open and break your heart. So everything like that is. KK, did you want to call back in, or you want me to call you, or anything like that? Now, yeah, thank you, Natalie. I really appreciate that. No, we don't open the gate. No, we don't. We don't want any more of CPS in our lives. They're terrible. Oh, I'd like to hear about that, Natalie. I never heard of anything negative about Indian tribe. I don't know if they're called foster care in Indian tribes. They're called Native Americans. So maybe they go through a foster care program. I don't know. The Indian tribes run the child protection system with their own people. Their own people. Faye, is there anything you like to talk about? I don't know where Danielle was. She was not on this morning, and so I've not heard from my texter. I remember the judge training social workers, and that was kind of interesting. Let me see if I can pull it up. I think it was a YouTube video. Um, hmm. May have been early. Wow, I thought I still had it. Well, where did it go, Faye? Hmm. I don't know how I would lose it. Um, I guess I don't have it. I thought I had it. I have about 60 some pages opened up. Um, let's see. KK, I'm just very tired and mentally exhausted. Everything I do seems to be wrong. I'm just really over it. It's okay, KK. Thank you for trying to call in. I know, you guys, I do this 14 times a week, and it's hard emotionally. And for me to still talk about CPS and be involved in it, and they're so bad. It's like when I found out that a social worker in Illinois was running an ad from 1848 that advertises black children for sale. I was a horde by seeing that the social worker put that up. Or the pink ladies in Prescott, Arizona, wearing T-shirts that say professional um, kidnappers, or on the back of the shirts they said, "Do you know where your children are at?" Those kind of actions are bad. It's happening all the time. I am sorry. I have not talked to, I mean, I've talked to one social worker who was pleasant, who talked for 40 minutes on the show. I don't know if she really was one, but she said that she was trained as a clinical psychiatrist and that she has 6 months training in Maryland. Now, that was a couple weeks ago, but I've not heard any for before. So, any of these social workers are listening. All we ask is you be fair with these people. You help them. It shouldn't be about your bonus you get, so you buy your Gucci purse or your eyeliner or your eyelashes or makeup or jewelry or your BMW car. It's sad. That isn't what, it's got out of hand now. You really should make an effort to reunify the parents. And on top of that, you should keep the promises with them. Just because they are low income or maybe they did some stupid things, everybody can be helped on. They need to help. They don't need to be lied upon. It says, I have one woman here in Brooklyn, New York, who's on the show right now, Akima Richardson. And she is struggling so hard with demons and stuff about her kids. I mean, it's so sad when parents can't be with their kids' graduation or their birthday or Christmas or Thanksgiving. It is so, so bad. I know you're disappointed. I feel that every day of my life. I try to, with this show, to bring myself up, to constantly help you all. Don't go through what I've gone through. Okay, yeah. I hear you, Natalie. I hear you. Yes, Faye, I really appreciate you can find the video and send it to me. I'm going to search my history, but I have like 5 or 6 YouTube videos on my tabs, and it's not one of yours that you sent me, Faye. So if you can send me. Also, I think we've lost Danielle. She was really a great asset to me, but I'm not heard from her, and she said she's going to be on this morning, and she wasn't. Hmm. 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 Okay. Um, Akima, it's not the best thing. I sometimes want to walk away and fade in the sunset or give up, It's hard. When you get older in life, it's really hard to redoing yourself over. At age 60, I lost my job that I've been working since age 15. And it's through no fault of my own. And since then, I had a job for a year and a half, but then I think they found out my age and they didn't have more work for me. So then I'm unemployed again. So it is hard. It is hard. I need a job. I need to do car repairs and things like that. I don't have all my money I saved was used on CPS and my lawyers. I spent so much money on CPS. I've spent over millions of dollars on CPS. But I will find a job. I'm determined with my talents and my ability. But I want to thank you all for listening and being patient. I wish I could. I'm not a lawyer, by the way. I a guy with a big heart that'd love to put my arm around you and tell you they'll be all right, and pull away the sharks, the CPS. They're spiders that are just putting a web around you. Um, I tell what CPS is like. It's like you're Alice in Wonderland, and you went in the garden, you fell in the rabbit hole, and suddenly you're in all these rooms, and that's what CPS is. They don't make sense. They tell you off with your head. They're just terrible. They're just terrible. They're really, really terrible there. You're a good mother, and don't let your kids think differently. I have my daughters too doing the same thing. One daughter that was forced to divorce us parents. Yes, yes, uh, Kima Richardson, I agree. Okay, thank you, Faye. That will have to go on my personal phone there, because I can't highlight that, because if I highlight it, I'd have to copy that and won't let me copy. Um, understand, Kima, understand. I know you miss your mom. I miss my mom too. I miss my dad. I miss family. It's really bad. Thank you, Faye. Thank you. I agree. I agree, Akima. I agree. Um, so I talked about the Indian Child Welfare Act, and um, it's something that does help out Indian children. So if you're Indian sent, you need to find the tribe and have them register you if you're not registered. If you are, you need to tell your social worker, because they're supposed to turn your child over to the tribe and let them help you. Um, one thing is that with this agency, you're going to have to get an attorney. I know so many of you are trying pro se, meaning trying to represent yourself, or take a public defender who is just wasting your time, and or other wannabe lawyers. You need to find a good attorney, and one of the ways that I've found a good attorneys is that you word your search right on the internet. The internet is your power to fighting CPS. You could type anything in there and you'll come up with it. You just got to be careful how you word your phrases and how you die things. So if you want to find an attorney, and let's say you want a pro bono attorney, which is an attorney that doesn't cost money, then you start off your search with find in, I'm going to use Georgia as example, find in Athens and Atlanta. The reason why I'm picking Atlanta, because it's the next biggest city to Athens. So you get a good list of attorneys. Find in Athens and Atlanta, Georgia, a pro bono dependency attorney. Dependency is the law that you're in. You're in dependency court. You're fighting dependency with these kids. There's so many different kinds of courts. So you got to be careful you're searching it. So you should see a list of names, and hopefully you get at least 10 names. Your goal is to get 10 names. And if you get 15, then just pick your top 10 there. What you're going to do is you're going to call them, not saying you're necessarily going to meet with them or strategize with them or hire them. You're going to first do some things first. You got to take that list of 10 and whittle it down to 4 people, and then I'm going to give you an attorney to add as the 5th one. You go from 10 to 5, and you have a consultation with those 5. And so when you call that list of 10, or yeah, you want to see first if they're in business. And so by them answering, it may sound like they're in business. You have to leave a message, then call them back. And that way you determine not to waste your time for bogus attorneys. Next thing you need to do is ask when you call in, do you have pro bono attorneys there? And you want to specify dependency attorneys who can fight CPS, You need to find that out. Also, you want to ask them, are there any dependency? Is there any attorneys they'll do a civil lawsuit in federal or state court, and if won or something like that. If the answer is yes, you've hit a bingo, because not too many attorneys want to fight CPS or sue CPS, let alone fight them. So that's going to be one of your biggest quadrants. But from that list, I want you then to add Vincent W. Davis as one of the people you have a consultation with. He is a dependency attorney. He's been doing it for over 35 years. He is a fighter. He's a trial attorney, and he has fought CPS and gotten the children back. He's also done lawsuits, civil lawsuits at both the state and the federal level, and he has won cases. So he's an excellent attorney. He has podcasts you can listen to. And then also, if you do a consultation, you need to contact 888-888-6582 and ask to have a consultation with Mr. Davis. Make sure you tell the office that Bob Pace sent you, so they know what you're calling about. The second thing is, when you talk to Vincent Davis, tell him that Bob Pace sent you, so he knows that I'm out there trying to get him some clients there. He charges for 30 minutes $60. I'm up front with it. It's $60 for 30 minutes, but well worth the money you spend. He'll tell you how to navigate, how to fight CPS, and strategies to get your kids back or keep your kids. You never want to wait till it's too late, but anyway, you want your kids. And he is one of the 5 people you can consult with. If any time any attorney starts talking about money right off the bat, then drop them. There's no need to be with people that are interested only in money. You don't have money. That's why you're contacting them. But there are attorneys that do pro bono work. You just have to search long and far. You may have to spend 40 hours just to, come up with some attorneys. So anyway, that is the number one. And I use that example because picture this. If you're going to have some work done in your open heart surgery, and you got to have a valve replaced, are you going to cut open your chest? Or are you going to get your neighbor to cut open your chest? Or better yet, are you going to get a plumber to open your chest to do the surgery? Or are you going to get a mechanic, an auto mechanic? No, you're going to get yourself a bona fide attorney, a doctor. You need to do the same thing with attorney. Doctors go through medical school, and lawyers go through law school. And they also take an exam and they get licensed. A lawyer is licensed, and so is a doctor. They're licensed. And most of the time, they mentor somebody before they actually do the work themselves. So that's what you need to do. That's what you need to think of. That's why it's an important attorney. A public defender won't work. They're like a caseload of 30 people or more, and they won't help you. I think all the people in this room will agree with me on that. So it's and any attorney that just wants all your money, you need to go away from them. That's good. Natalie said she had a good-hearted attorney. By the way, Akima went and got her law degree, and so she wanted to learn the law system there. So that's how, she wants to do it there. So, but Akima has a lot of bad things to say about social worker. I will agree with her because my social workers were awful. My socials were awful there. Oh, I'm sorry to say that. Yeah. Your attorney passed away. Well, that's sad when someone does die, Hmm. So rule number 1 is get your attorney. It's going to make your life a lot better. I waited a year and a half, and I think I lost my daughter because of that. There's a second rule that's just as important, and that is how they keep track of your paperwork. I did not do so, and after a while, you forget everything. It's important that you have your paperwork put together. And what I mean is that you got to organize a notebook. a 3-ring binder, 6 inches thick. And you want to stuff it with a bunch of notebook paper and then buy some subject tabs. And one of the subjects is going to be incidents. Now, these are daily interaction with the police, the CPS worker, anything related to CPS is an incident. So you put the date and time it happened and the people that are involved in the incident, whether you, the kids, the police, the social workers, who was involved. And that goes all in the first line. The next line, you should put what the incident was about. It was about me going to the office, about them coming to my home. Whatever the incident was, you write that down. Then you want to do the next line and put down the outcome. If you don't know the outcome, skip it, skip a couple lines down, put the next incident and the next incident. You keep building the different incidents. You keep building them differently, and you add them in there. So paperwork is so important. Some other subject tabs you can create is a section where you're going to keep track of all your parenting classes, all the programs you're taking, all the monitor programs that you're doing, like your drug tests, and you've seen a psychiatrist or so forth. You keep track of those, and what you do is you put certificates in that same tab as you complete them so you have proof. Because a lot of times the social workers will not disseminate that and so forth. Yes, social workers are a big lie. I know that. I know that way. So a third tab could be things you find on the internet. Info, you can call it info tab. And on the info tab, you can put down websites, phone numbers, references that help you with your CPS case. And that is so you can make as many subjects as you want. It's up to you, but try to have it all in one place, one notebook. Like you can put all your court cases, hole punch them, your paperwork from the courts, and put them in your notebook. Anything that is paper related to it should be put in the notebook, and you can make it so that way it's all kept together. You can thumb through it with the subject tabs, and it's all well organized. So please do the paperwork. Use pink and yellow highlighters to highlight things so you can come back and look at them later and so forth, because your case, I would say it's roughly a year. Average is about 3 years, but they're going to try to take it so that you'll never get your kids back, and they do not help your kids. They're such animals at CPSRs. And I can say that because they've done some crazy things, social workers done, and they're still doing it today. They're still doing it today. And I challenge any social worker out there to come on to my podcast. I'll be respectful. You be respectful. And we'll talk about what you say you don't do and what is happening, because I know it firsthand. My case was awful. I had the worst agency in the United States, and they were strictly in for the money. You can look at the building they're in. The building that the director worked out of was like the Taj Mahal of India. And it was so rich and luxurious, and he had so much gold around his neck, I thought he was going to fall over. And, he was getting a high-paid salary to do a lousy job. He just goes in one ear, goes out the other. They don't try to help or resolve things. You have to go to the state. You have to go to the state to file a complaint and so forth. It's very difficult to complain against CPS or fight CPS. It has been that really, really bad. Well, you have a smart dog and a cat. Well, yeah, that's great. Boy, you're just really talking up a storm there. So anyway, with your paperwork in your notebook and getting your attorney, those are rules 1 and 2. Now, the last rule I have is the one that deals with social workers coming to your home, especially if they bring the police, and demanding entrance into your home or demanding your children. The answer to those questions, no, no, no. You don't let them in the home. Your home is your castle. You don't have to let anybody, including the police. They have to have a court warrant, and the warrant specifically has to say what they're coming over for. It's got to have the name, has to have your name on there, the children's name, what the allegations are, where they're supposed to investigate or come in, and what time, and so forth. So if they come over early, they can't enter it. So my recommendation is that you don't open the door. And the reason why I say you don't open the door, there's a black man that was just recently killed on May 3rd in Gainesville, Florida, for just opening his door. He was shot 5 times at point blank range, and they're still investigating the case, but I think it'll be swept beneath the carpet. What's so bad about it is that he was serving our country as a veteran in the Air Force, and there's nothing wrong with what he was doing. There's supposedly an allegation of domestic dispute, but the boy was alone in his apartment. He was talking to his girlfriend on FaceTime, and there was no domestic violence going on. I think they got the wrong place. They keep saying, no, we didn't. But it started with that rumor there, and then he opens the door, and the guy shot him. Now, granted, the guy that opened the door had a gun in his side, but it wasn't cocked or ready to fire. So this policeman fired 5 times to put the guy down. Why they have to shoot anybody that many times? Why can't they shoot him once to disarm him and then take him into custody? But instead, they make it virtually impossible. They really do. They penalize you so bad. They know so much about you and your case. And if you're in foster care before, they're going to use that against you. They have a history of you, so they use that against you. It's sad what they do. It is so sad what they do. It's so sad. Besides Faye, does anyone else have any questions, or anybody wants to call in and talk? If you want to call in again, Faye, I'd love to have your voice. Maybe you could create something in there. In your link, you can talk about the broken adoption. It's really, really bad. I know that. So anyway, my phone number is 626-698-0990. Another thing on rule number 3, you shouldn't open the door. And that black man with point shot blank, he had a gun in his arm, but he had done it because the way the police approached the door, the police had knocked the door several times, said nothing. That alerted him, and he had a right to bear the arms because he has a license to carry that gun. And he did not have it cocked or shooting at the policeman. The policeman, point blank, 2 feet away, fired 5 rounds and killed him. And he was dying on FaceTime with his girlfriend. His last words were, but he's a guy that went through high school, graduated, fine, didn't have any trouble in high school, and then went into the Air Force to serve a country. He's well-respected veteran. And again, and here it is, he's dead. Why? Well, number one, he opened the door. And 2, the policeman didn't know proper police protocol. He just decided to take it in his own manner, his own hands. He could have told the guy when he first came over and to stand to the left of the side of the door, near the door jamb, and say, knock, knock, hi, this is the Gainesville Sheriff Department, and we're here to investigate a domestic violence. Are you alone in there? And if you're in there, could you please unlock the door and then lay down? If you have a weapon, disengage it from you, lay it to the side, and put your hands behind your back. That way, the sheriff could open the door and walked in and saw the position like that. He could have handcuffed him, and then he could go look at the rest of the apartment for anybody else in there. But it was sad how he just blatantly shut this black man down. I mean, there was no violence going on, no commotion, and it gets swept beneath the rug. I hate it. I hate it, especially with minority groups, how abusive they are by people. I just think it's really wrong. I think it's really wrong. So if there's anything you need to talk about, Faye, I'd love to. have you as my guest on the show. Now, some of you may have a case where you want to get before the judge again with new evidence. If you have changes or new evidence, like you completed all your programs, completed your classes, you can get a hearing with the judge. And all you have to do is file a 388 motion. That's what's called in California. Other states, it may not have the 388. But it's a motion to file new evidence and request a hearing with the judge. And they can grant it within 30 days. And you can talk before the judge what you want to talk about and so forth. But you should know about that 388 motion. It may not be called that way in the state. It's basically, you can search it by how do you have a hearing? How do you file a hearing when you have new evidence or changes in your case? So that being said there, I know it is hard to stay positive. You guys keep me positive. Coming on here talking to you guys has helped me. So that's my trade-off. That's my trade-off. Let me see what else I got here. If you want to look up that black man that was murdered by that Gainesville sheriff, his name is Roger Fortsons. Roger Fortson. And I'll tell you all about the story. It is in Gainesville, Florida. In fact, it seems Gainesville is a pretty bad place that I find. There's some new news. A judge just sentenced a former child welfare worker to jail at a boy's death, which is sad to hear that. But um, hmm, hmm, hmm. Well, let me see. No. Faye, are you going to call in? Now, one thing we've talked about CPS a lot, but the other part of social services will help you with other things like cash aid, food and nutrition, in-home support services. They give you licensed care facilities, and uh, they'll help you out with lots of things there. Um, so, social services helps on all your family needs, but you got to be careful and smart about the CPS part of social services. That's the part that is troublesome to me. That is real troublesome too to me. Now, it's also important you know about appeals. And if you disagree with an action taken by the county, you have 90 days to request a state hearing. And so, other than that, um, now how the whole thing starts is when the allegations come in either by a professional or a layperson, they have to start within 24 hours of the investigation. And then the investigation can take up to 30 days. It can take over a month to do the investigation. So, I don't, let me check to see where Danielle is. I thought she'd be on by now. We don't have much time left, I guess, Faye. So I've covered my rules, and we didn't have too many questions in there. We had a lot of comments, and so she may be having phone problems too. But I want to thank all my listeners. You guys come into my room and you give me support. And I want to thank you all. And I want you not to keep stopping fighting for your kids. Natalie, lives in West Hollywood. It's a strange city for her. And, she is a really good person, comes on the show all the time. Faye is the same way. She's from Richmond, Kentucky. And she's told about a lot of problems that Kentucky's having. It's really bad. Kima's from Brooklyn, New York, and her case is powerful. She's trying her best to fight her children, and it's really been hard on her, and so disheartened there. So I want to thank you, listeners there, and all the other people that maybe not say comments or are not in my room, but I see the emojis, so I really appreciate that. So go ahead and turn in remarks about how you like about the show, or what you like to change, and so forth. So with that said, I'm going to thank you all for joining tonight. God bless you all. I want you to keep fighting for your kids. You will get them back. I care about you. So this is Bob Pace signing off. I'll see you tomorrow at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. 10 o'clock tomorrow.